What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Spartans! What is your profession? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
It's time!
New Day with SSJ is presented by Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and operated, and HLAC certified to the highest standards. Walker has partnerships with hospitals, surgery centers, and medical clinics in and around the metro area. Walker Medical Linen Services in Kansas City and online at walkermls.com.
Bills, Jets.
And Allen is in the gun by himself, looking into the nickel. Arms extended, shotgun snap, four-man rush. Here they come, they got him, he escapes! Runs to the far side, throws in the end zone, caught! Touchdown! Hit the pylon! Caught! Touchdown! A touchdown throw by Josh Allen. And it was Dawson Knox who caught the ball on the pylon, far side, right at the goal line. Oh my goodness, what a play by Allen. So Rodgers is here with 8 seconds to go with his own 48 and a 1st and 10 and the wind at his back. Shotgun snap, two-man rush. Rodgers sets, looking, moving up, winding up, long arching spiral thrown down the middle in the end zone. Tipped and caught! Caught! They're gonna call a touchdown! He hit the deck! He caught the ball! It's a Jets touchdown! 52-yard Hail Mary! Caught on the play by Lazard. Caught it, hit the deck.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
52-yard touchdown pass! Clock at 9:50 and ticking in the fourth to break a 20-20 tie. 43-yard try by Zerline. Snap is good. Swings his right leg through. This kick hits the upright. Bounces back to the field. Another miss. Off the left upright and ricochets into the end zone. Another missed field goal for New York. Rodgers 3rd and 16 from his Jet 40. Shotgun formation. Looks into the nickel. It's a four-man rush. Rodgers drifting back after the snap. Cocks his arm, long spiral pass, far side. He's got a receiver, but the receiver slipped. But he may have caught the ball, Mike Williams, or was it picked off on the play by Johnson? It was. The receiver, Mike Williams, slipped. Interception at the 18-yard line of Buffalo. Rodgers throws a pick, and Taron Johnson is the one to go under and dive and scoop it in as the receiver fell, and then Johnson leapt in front of the fallen receiver and scooped up that ball just inches above the turf. What an interception! What a play by the Bills!
The Kansas City Royals.
When we look at our offense, I mean, it's somebody at the top of the lineup that can get on base. And now that doesn't mean he can't come internally. You know, that person hasn't emerged just yet, but a year from now, we may be sitting here and somebody did take the reins and get on base. But that leadoff spot, I mean, you all know, we were, circulating guys all year long trying to find the right person. And when we got Tommy Pham, he stepped in and did a nice job. But that's one that stands out when you just evaluate, our lineup. But every lineup, and the better lineups that we face, they're deep. So the more you can push guys down, the better our lineup will be. So you start with a leadoff man, try to find somebody hitting the middle of the lineup as well. And the deeper you can get, the more explosive you can be as an offense, and the tougher you are to defend.
Chiefs.
I don't have a lot to go over with you. I can just give you a brief update on Rasheed. His surgery was not his ACL. It was the posterior lateral corner. There's damage there. It's probably the same result, though, as you get time-wise for an ACL. It takes a while for that to come back, and he'll get into his rehab and get rolling on that as we go here. So, but that's what it was. Other than that, we look forward to the challenge of playing a very good 49er team. I think both teams know each other and what we're about, and should be a heck of a game.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's Tuesday, October 15, 2024. Stephen St. John with producer Jake Gutierrez. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We're going to talk to Kansas head football coach Lance Leipold coming up at 6:30. Then we'll check in with former Royals reliever Jamie Bluma. Former Chiefs wide receiver Mark Bowrichter will be with us for a while. Then we'll talk to Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook. And then Jeff Chadia from NFL Network and NFL.com will be with us in the 9 o'clock hour. We've also got some clips from Andy Reid's Zoom call yesterday. And also J.J. Piccolo and Matt Quatrero met with the media to wrap up the Royals season. Last night, there was baseball going on, but I was watching Monday Night Football. So, I'm not back in baseball mode yet, even if I'm getting pictures sent to me of Gary Dieter sitting in a suite with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And look, not all of it, most of my life is an open book. Some of it, I don't know. Then it's a partially open book. I'll just tell you what I was experiencing. And so, my daughter's been having some stomach issues, and said she had a doctor appointment late afternoon, and they thought that maybe there was some there could be an appendix issue, maybe some appendicitis. And we're very cognizant of that because Phil had a situation where he had fallen down and hurt his side, or he thought he hurt his side, and he kept having these pains. And this is when he was 3rd or 4th grade, maybe. Scott Pioli was the GM. I remember because Scott Pioli called and left me a nice voicemail. I mean, he did, But we took Phil to get him looked at. They said, hey, we think he needs to get his appendix out now. And we had to rush down to Children's Mercy, and within an hour he was getting operated on. And so when they say that, they say, hey, you need to head down to Children's Mercy. Okay. So we drive down there last night in the ER. We were there for hours and hours, and did not get a resolution. And so back at it again today. And so it was a long night. And if I'm a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that's why. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep. But here I am. And so anyway, I'm sitting in the ER with her, and she was fine, She had some pain, but just look, the doctor tells you to go, you go. It's your kid. And so we were watching some Monday Night Football, and then she was, watching, videos that teenagers watch. And then so she saw some, then all of a sudden, all over social media, she starts to see pictures of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift in the suite, in the box at Yankee Stadium. And then all of a sudden you see this picture where it's Travis and Taylor, and then below, kind of photobombish, he's got this kind of a somewhat goofy look on his face. There's Gary Dieter with a Yankees hat on.
Kind of photobombish. Or completely photobombish.
As our man Sherm texted in our thread. Let me see. Let me get the exact.
Yeah, go verbatim.
I don't think Sherm has any problem.
No. He'd stand behind his words.
Right. After this picture made its way, we have a text thread with me.
I got it right here.
And Lebo and
you like me to read
Gary
it?
Dieter. I got it right here. So Lebo sends out the picture of Taylor. Can you put it up on the screen? You want me to send it to you?
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're the best.
I got it.
Taylor, Kelsey, and then Gehrig. And then Sherm just responds, "Kid is an attention whore." So
facts.
Hey,
Big facts.
He said it on the air before. Sure didn't mind me repeating that text.
No.
And so then, of course, Selena. Oh my God, is he really there with? Yeah. I don't know what else to tell you about that.
Right.
Now let's watch and see if Daddy's fantasy team wins. I only have one player. The other person has two players, and I'm holding on to a lead. Ended up winning by 2 points, by the way. Brees Hall had a nice catch and run that was called back by penalty on that last drive.
He also had one he took down to about the 4.
And Josh Allen, those kneel downs at the end of the game, cost him a point. So I won by 2. So there you go. Congratulations to me. So then she's like, is he get? What, did they go together? Were they on the same flight? I have no idea, but we'll hear all about it on Thursday, honey. And so she was enamored by all of that. Sherm was not. And so we'll get more information about how that all came about as Gary Dieter now living the life of Forrest Gump. And so we'll talk to him on Thursday. But I'm watching the game, thankfully, as we sat there for hours upon hours. I felt bad. Some people have been there for 8 hours. So it was hard for me to complain. But, hey, we all made friends. Watching this game, man. I watched the whole game. We saw a little bit of everything. We saw Hail Mary. Aaron Rodgers completing a Hail Mary to Allen Lazard to end the first half after the Bills had taken a 10-point lead. We saw the Jets are still the Jets, man. They do some stupid things. You saw missed field goals. I'll tell you what else you saw. You saw more penalties than I feel like I've ever seen in my life watching an NFL football game. Good God, what was that? There was a point where it felt like there was a penalty every single play. But the game, there's the picture. Look at that. How would you describe that picture to people that aren't watching the stream?
Oh, Kelsey and Taylor sitting above Gehrig Dieter in a suite as, kind of levels, different rows. And then Gehrig sitting there with the ball cap on top of his head and just kind of looking like a goofball.
Yeah. There it is.
There it is.
For the people that streaming.
There you go. Kelsey and Taylor look like they're having a good time, though. Both big smiles.
As K-Dog Curtis Siebold tweeted out or posted on X, there were 22 accepted penalties last night. That does not include 3 pairs of offsetting penalties and 1 solo that was declined. That's 29 flags in all. 1 every 2 minutes of clock time. Did you like that or not? Think it was good?
Solid. Yeah. Really entertaining.
Anyone from the NFL sat and watched and said, yep, this is what we want.
Yep.
Flag, 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 flag.
It's our primetime game.
Flag, 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 flag. Throw another flag. Hey, do you know what we should do here? We should throw a flag. Okay, great. Do it. I couldn't really hear the game, which is probably a treat for me because it was Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I just sent you this clip of Troy Aikman. Was Aikman complaining about the penalties, or was he defending the officials?
Oh, I think they were complaining. I mean, I kind of tuned them out.
Yeah.
I was more into my phone, watching Twitter and cursing at DraftKings.
Let's hear, you had Jets money line. That was a tough one. Let's hear Troy Aikman talking about the tremendous amount of penalties.
Awfully sore in the morning because he's continued to take a lot of hits. Rodgers trying to set up a screen, flag again. We've had basically 200 yards worth of penalties. Now there's two separate fouls. There's one in the defensive backfield, and then there's one back at the 30.
Yeah, it's like a preseason game.
There were two fouls on the play, holding offense, number 78, holding defense, number 31. Those penalties offset, replay, first down.
So first down and 10 after the pass interference call with 2:47 left and 3 timeouts for the Jets.
Well, they definitely got the penalty on Rasul Douglas.
And the other was against Morgan Moses. Right there.
I guess they got to throw the flag, don't they? It's easy to get upset with the officials, but those were penalties.
A lot of flags. So, I mean, I don't know that that's what anyone wants, but that's what we got. And I'll be honest with you, I was pretty happy with it because a penalty literally helped me win my fantasy game. So, well done, officials. Let's hear, this is something else that I know is making its rounds. Bill Belichick was on the Manning cast, and this was...
It's becoming a must-listen.
Yeah.
It really
sure.
is.
This was late in the second quarter.
He's so good when he's on there with those guys.
This was him talking about the Jets and their organization and firing Robert Saleh.
That's kind of what it's been there at the Jets. You know, barely won over 30% in the last 10 years. So, you know, the owner being the owner, just ready, fire, aim.
But, Bill, you mentioned, in '99, you were the D.C. for the Jets. Parcells was the head coach. He stepped down. You replaced him for a day before resigning. We have a recreation of your resignation letter that we can show here. You wrote, quote, "I resigned as HC of the NYJ," and you wrote it on a napkin. Bill, looking back, which is stranger, that you resigned on a napkin or that you couldn't be bothered to write out the words head coach?
I was tight on space. Hey, look, Peyton, I was the head coach of the Jets twice. I was the head coach before Parcells came there, and I was the head coach after Bill resigned. Undefeated, unscored on, all right? My career as a coach of the Jets, it's unblemished.
He said, ready, fire, aim. Good night for the Jets fans. And I had to throw this in there, Jake. The game ended with really one of the better interceptions that you'll ever see. It was tremendous. It looked like Mike Williams was wide open, and then Mike Williams fell down, but it looked like the ball was still going to get to him, and he was going to be able to catch it laying down. But Taron Johnson, what swooped in, and almost like a hawk came in and just got that football and took it away from him.
Swiped it up.
And that was it. And then the Bills got the ball back, and they were able to run out the clock. But here is Aaron Rodgers, who, you tell me, it sounds like he's blaming Mike Williams for the game-losing interception.
Two verticals, Allen's down the seam, Mike's down the red line. So I'm looking at Allen. He puts his hand up, 3 guys go with him, so I'm throwing a no-look to the red line. And when I just peek my eyes back there, he's running an inbreaker. So It's got to be down the red line.
So were you throwing that split to come back to it?
No, I was throwing it to the red line, but when I got to about here, I realized he was running in breaker, so I had to kind of adjust it a little bit. But the play is 2 guys vertical, 1 guy down the seam, 1 guy on the red line.
There it is.
There you go. There it is. Come on. Come on.
I mean, when it's true, it's true. But
Right.
like that's not what you want out of your quarterback. I mean, hey, that's
Dude,
hey, I need to throw a better ball.
How many times last year do you think a receiver did something wrong?
And
Mahomes
Right.
just ate it.
Yeah.
And said, I got to be better.
Right.
I got to make a better throw. I mean, there were times when clearly the receiver was at fault. You know what?
Yep.
If I would have made a better throw, that wouldn't,
I'd be quicker with that.
Right.
If I get that on time,
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's not what you want to hear. But
And then and maybe that's right. There's every reason to believe that's correct.
right. I mean, I highly doubt. Look, when he messes up, he'll admit it. But when it's not on him, he won't.
He's not taking the blame for anybody.
Yeah, he's not going to take any strays. But I mean, especially after the head coach has been fired, you're looking for somebody to stand up, show some leadership.
No,
it's
no, sir.
It's not looking good in New York. But I mean, it's silly shame on me for thinking that even Aaron Rodgers could change that situation.
It's still early, but that was a big loss.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big opportunity to beat the Bills. It was right there.
Put themselves right in the middle of the wild card race and the head of the division, and now they're sitting behind the Dolphins in their division.
I mean, look, isn't that didn't last week? I mean, you're talking about having the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands at the end of the game with a chance to win.
Yeah, they're in the position to go down and score inside their own 30, I believe. And he threw I don't know if it was a bad interception, but
he threw an interception.
He threw an interception
in the last drive of the game.
Gilmore.
And that's the 2 weeks after losing 10-9 to the Broncos.
3 straight losses for the Jets.
Yeah, now this is when things could fall apart, right? So that was a wild Monday night football game. I don't know. Hey, look
at this guy.
What are you doing here?
I don't know. I was awake, so I just came in.
What you doing here? Come on, I'd love to have you. You can watch me lay down in commercial breaks.
Yeah, you go back. You can't go back to sleep. Help interview Lance Leipold next.
Yeah, please do. Please help me. Also last night in the NLCS, the Mets beat the Dodgers 7-3. So that series is tied at 1 game apiece. And the Yankees beat the Guardians 5-2. And so the Yankees take a 1-0 lead in that series with Gary Dieter sitting with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So.
Like you said at the top, hard to get back into baseball mode.
No, I quick peek at the scores, and then I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it, no.
Give me a week. Maybe
by the World Series I'll be wanting to watch it.
The Yankees aren't in it.
But especially sorry, this is just me, compelling Monday Night Football matchup between AFC contenders.
Right.
I'm watching that. And I'm glad because that was a very eventful Monday Night Football game. And like I said, if you're a fan of flags and penalties, then boy, what a treat it was for you. Lots there, If you're ever rooting for the officials, like, oh, okay. Hey, throw another one. Hey, all right.
I'm
wow.
sorry, an inordinate amount of what?
Penalties.
Calories?
No, penalties. Sorry, penalties, like flags.
Some people are like, hey, I saw a high-scoring game. They put up 45 points like last week. Hey, I saw a highly penalized game. There were 22 accepted penalties. Isn't that awesome? Like if you're a young official or a young ref, like, hey, I really enjoyed watching that.
Swartz had a hell of a time watching that game.
These guys were just at the next level. These guys, sometimes Mahomes really took over the game. No, these officials, man, they really took over the game. That was awesome. We'll take a break. Back after this on WHB. Now, see, look at this. My man Todd Lebo was on call last night because I didn't know how long I'd be there with my daughter. You know how these things go.
Yeah.
And I was there quite late. And then you're texting me in the 4 a.m.s. And you say, hey, is everything good? I said, well, yeah, I'm going in. I'll be there. And then you're up anyway because you're working in the wee hours of the morning.
I wasn't going to go back to sleep.
Now
I had a restless night of sleep. I was worried for you.
Well, yeah, worried for me.
And then I didn't rush in here. I took my time.
Yeah.
I have some office work to do.
Yeah, I just watched him for 4 minutes try to figure out how to work a scanner. Unsuccessful. But you know what?
I said it was
you try again.
I'll try again.
Give me those papers. I'll get it working.
We'll get it working.
Let's say hello to Kansas head football coach Lance Leipold.
He's up early.
Yes, that's right.
Always.
That's exactly right. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Man, I don't feel like you're the guy I should ask this to. Did you watch any Monday Night Football last night?
I watched a little bit of it, and then I was kind of doing some other film watching at home. But I saw
some penalties.
I saw the replay of the Hail Mary. Then I saw what was. I don't even knew that was quite the rule. The sack and what too much. You hit them too hard or something.
Yeah. 22 accepted penalties, Coach, and so I know that we've all right. No comment from you, I'm sure, but that was you know.
It's and some of those now are getting so difficult because if it's almost like probably like in basketball a little bit. If you start calling it tight early, you're going to be throwing them a lot the whole game, and I just think it really takes away from the flow. And hopefully you get a game that they kind of let everyone play and you kind of understand how it's going to move along.
Yeah, it was a very odd game last night, but there is something I wanted to ask you about from the world of college football from this past weekend before we talk about your team. A lot of people were obviously watching the Ohio State-Oregon game, and there was a situation very late in the game when Oregon had 12 men on the field, and obviously Ohio State got 5 yards out of it but lost 4 seconds on the clock because the penalty was deemed a live ball foul. And everyone was wondering whether or not Dan Lanning did that on purpose. And so yesterday at his press conference, he said, yep, we spend a lot of time on situations, and some situations don't come up very often in college football, but this was obviously something we had worked on. You can see the result, and every second counted in that game, and that really ended up helping to determine the game. And I'm just curious, as a fellow head football coach, what your reaction is to that. I mean, obviously he was very prepared, knew the situation, but you don't always see that happen, and it doesn't come up very often, but it sure played a big role in that game on Saturday.
Yeah, it did. I've seen parts of that. I had part of that game on. I got home a little bit later on Saturday with our son, and I had it on a third TV, and I saw it. I wasn't exactly sure what they were doing. It was a great move. I guess the only thing was, if they would have had a successful play, it probably just declined the penalty. I guess it was probably more puzzling that the quarterback scrambled and time ran out and some of those natures. But a very heady move by Coach Lanning. He does an excellent job and a big win for them at home. And again, this probably new wave of what's happening in college football, of a lot of wins, and when you're talking about a playoff and all the ups and downs about what's going to play out. I was thinking that Oregon and Ohio State could possibly play 2 more times if they could meet in the conference championship, and there's always a chance they could get matched up depending on seeding in the playoffs. And I think that's the other thing that you may see coming down the road, sometimes multiple matchups with teams.
Coach, you mentioned the end of that game as well. Will Howard's obviously a veteran quarterback. I know he had his internal clock going. That's a very risky thing to go down there and try to slide and try to call a timeout. Is part of you watch that as a coach, I'm sure, screaming, oh no, but then the other part of it is you competed against that kid too, and you're like, oh boy, what a rough thing for him. That's a tough spot, isn't it?
It sure is, and I saw a picture. I think yesterday somebody had given me some articles, and our communication staff gives me articles of stuff that happens around the country. I think there's one of him sliding, and you can see his eyes are almost fixated upward, like towards the clock, and seeing where that is, and and I'm with player or coach to player communication, I'm sure that's being said. How much time try to get down, and one thing is it's probably a quick trigger. When you're playing on the road, that clock operator has a quick trigger to get it started and a slow one to stop it. So, those seconds are going to kind of evaporate on you, and you got to be spot on probably.
Yeah, I said that same thing yesterday. If that game was at Ohio State, something tells me there would have been 1 second left on the clock at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's always puzzling, Stephen. Sometimes you look about how long it may take to spike the ball and to kill the clock and things like that. It's or even on a bloop kick or an onside, something about how much time goes. It's sometimes it differs about who's getting the ball, I think, from time to time.
Lance Leipold is our guest. All right, Coach, coming off a bye week, and I know that you go through the self-scouting process. What are some things that stood out to you after going through that process and taking a look at the first part of the season before the bye week?
Yeah, again, guys, we've talked so much about how close this football team is and how disappointing, record-wise we are, and then you kind of look at some things you compare from years past, and some things, things that stand out still are, we have thrown more interceptions, unfortunately, but I thought Jalen had his best game yet this year in Tempe, and I think we've got to be a little more efficient on first down to give us some opportunities to dial up a little bit more, run or pass and some things in the second, third down areas. Our ability to capitalize on when big plays kind of go our way. We got a targeting call on an end zone play and got the ball inside, I think the 5 or 10, and had settled for a field goal. We've got to be able to be more opportunistic. We're down on sacks right now, and I think when we're looking at our struggles defensively, we're not getting our opposing offenses in longer yardage situations. They've been able to stay more normal down in distance than we were a year ago, and that's been one of our struggles, and we've got to be able to put more pressure on the quarterback one way or another.
Coach Leipold is our guest right here. They've got Houston right here on Sports Radio 810 at Arrowhead Stadium on Saturday. And how much during a bye week, you've got a unique team. Some teams don't have veteran leadership who's been with your program for 4 or 5 years. We look around, we see these guys who are 5 or 6 year players. They all haven't been with their program the entire time. They've moved around. You've got a lot of guys who've been around. How much do you lean on them during a bye week at this point of the year to kind of, do their part as well with the coaching staff?
Well, I just say, Todd, just holistically this year, our senior leadership through this bumpy road has been outstanding. I had a player come and tell me as people from the outside kind of talk with guys, some of our upperclassmen, about representation or something down the road. They start asking a bunch of questions, and a young man, one of our starters, said, "Yes, guy was asking me about the locker room," and he said, "Coach, the locker room's together." He goes, "We're, everybody kind of sees it. Everybody sees ownership and what hasn't gone right and what we can get better on." And same thing through this open week of last week, that the process in which we have to do to continue to work fundamentally on getting better situational football a little bit better. We had a chance to scrimmage some of our younger guys, and I think the older experienced players told them it's a chance for them to kind of sharpen back up in live situations as some of them may be called upon as they get 4 games to play and still save a redshirt year. And some other guys, as we've been depleted in some spots, are going to get some opportunities to help at either their positions or on special teams.
Lance Leipold is our guest, Coach. I know that injuries have been an issue for your linebacker room and your safeties, and 2 of your best players, Kobe Bryant and Cornell Wheeler, have been battling injury. How did the bye week do to help that situation, and maybe specifically an update on Kobe Bryant and Cornell Wheeler?
Yeah, those guys really haven't, they're working more with the trainers than they are with their position coaches by far right now. We'll see what we have here in a couple hours when we get on the field. I put them in the questionable, the doubtful areas right now. If we can get something from them, we need to get something going probably by tomorrow on the field for them to be ready for the game plan and things like that. I know one thing about Kobe, he's extremely competitive. He hates to miss. He didn't partake in anything last week, just strictly working with the training staff as well as Cornell. Cornell started to do a little bit of work as well. We'll kind of see from there. And as you mentioned, those positions are a little banged up right now, and some other guys and younger guys are going to have to step up. Taylor Davis is a redshirt freshman safety who didn't even make the travel squad to West Virginia, and a couple weeks later he's played 36 snaps in football, and he's a Houston native, and hopefully he'll be excited for his opportunity because there's a good chance he'll be lining up as a starter this week for us at safety.
You mentioned Houston. They've struggled this year, but they got a big win on a Friday night against TCU. They've been off since then. +4 in the turnovers. Every coach would love to have that. Is that they made a quarterback change too? What do you make of Houston? You haven't seen much of this quarterback, and they look like they really struggled to score before that TCU game.
Yeah, they did, and you guys are familiar with Willie Fritz probably from his time in at Central Missouri and Kansas native. And Willie's an excellent football coach everywhere he's been along his career. He has built solid programs and well-coached discipline. As you said, they don't beat themselves much, and as he's in his first season there, he's putting his stamp on it. I think they found a quarterback now that they want to go to. They had 2 transfer quarterbacks, one from Texas Tech, and Chris is the one now that they've settled on from Louisiana Lafayette. Both are big, strong quarterbacks who are excellent in the run game, probably almost more runners and throwers that they try to utilize as well as they can to make sure you defend the quarterback, which at times we struggle with, so that'll be a big challenge. They've seemed to kind of put it together, stop hurting themselves penalty-wise and turnover-wise, and played their best game of the year against TCU and got up on them and never looked back. So it's going to be it'll be a good challenge for us. It's one that both teams had an open week, and then see who comes out of the gate the earliest and best is going to be a big part of what we'll tell the tale on Saturday.
All right, it's Kansas against Houston, 2:30. You can watch it live out at Arrowhead Stadium or listen to it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Coach, I know we were pushing for a Royals-Brewers World Series. Didn't happen, and so now I'm just left to root against the Yankees. But we'll talk some more baseball when we get to the offseason. But just didn't go our way, but it was still a hell of a season for both teams. So,
It sure was, and I know Royal fans should be real proud of the turnaround that's happened there, and that just shows anything can happen in sports today with, quick rebuilds are available, and I think there's a lot of bright days for Royals fans around this area.
Let's hope so.
Hey, Coach, good luck against Houston. We'll talk to you next week.
It sounds great, guys. Have a great week. Thanks for the opportunity. Rock Chalk.
That's Lance Leipold, who joins us every Tuesday, coming off the bye week, getting a chance to host Houston and get back in the win column on Saturday. You can listen to the game right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Opened in 1927, it's the only hotel in the Power and Light District, just steps from T-Mobile Center. Find them online at PresidentKansasCity.Hilton.com. The Hilton President's Hotel, the official hotel of New Day with SSJ.
You are
Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thanks to Lance Leipold for coming on the show. Now we have former Royals reliever Jamie Bluma in studio. Well, we had a couple of tailgate parties. Two's better than none, I'll tell you that much.
That is very true. I wish we were prepping to do it again. I wish we would have gotten a chance to do it again last night.
I know you do.
Oh, well.
It's I don't know, it's still in that fun, like I was talking with Jake earlier, I'm still in that funny.
I heard you on the way in. Can't really watch baseball still.
That zone where I'm still pissed off. The wounds are too fresh. I'll get, like, here's the deal. I'm monitoring this ALCS from afar. I'm not watching it if it's like 2-0, 3-0 Yankees and watching them. I don't want to see the Yankees win.
Right.
If Cleveland, evens a series and then goes back to Cleveland, then I might tune in to see.
What's kind of I love postseason baseball, so I get your wounds are healing from all the things. I love it.
And also, look, it's a bad, like, when it's going up against, like, college football and the NFL, it's hard for me, so that I'm sure I'll watch it this week, but I'm just still like, they had a real chance in that series against the Yankees.
They really did, and here's what's crazy is Cleveland did the same thing last night that we did that whole series. Walked 7, walked 8, 5 wild pitches. Like, New York didn't get a hit with runners in scoring position again.
They're going to make you throw strikes. They're not going to chase. That's, there's something to be said for that.
I guess. I mean, I still, we were so close. Man, I don't know. That just the way. I mean, Cleveland's bullpen and Cleveland's been pitching has kind of driven them all year, and for them to kind of go out and do the exact same thing that we did that series. We walked. Man, they mentioned it on the broadcast a couple times last night. I have to go back and look. We walked 30 guys or whatever, and still didn't get run out of town. I mean, a couple big hits for us, and we're right in that. But, I mean, I listened to the press conference yesterday, and the fact that we were able to win a playoff series versus Baltimore, the fact that we split New York and we're able to come back here and to be able to go out and, have an exciting couple tailgates and home playoff game. It was weird. I'll tell you this. Wednesday was electric out there. Like, it was, and everybody ready to be back out there for night. Thursday was different.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that.
Thursday was weird.
Here's the deal. So Wednesday, it wasn't easy getting in to the parking lot.
Our tailgate was
sure as hell wasn't easy leaving the parking lot. I've already expressed that. And that was a 6:08 first pitch, so it was an hour earlier. But then on Thursday, Caesar came in town. Hey, you know what? Got to take your Uber early. Get there. I'll drive you home back to the hotel afterwards. Man, get there early, because and we drove in there on Thursday like we're going to just a regular season game. There was no wait, hold on here, and I'm like, what just happened? There's no it just drove right in with no resistance, parked where we wanted. And it was a later arriving crowd. I mean, I don't know. The game was an hour later, but I'm with you. It was just not. I mean, the stands were full, but the mood from Wednesday to Thursday was vastly different. The parking lot was different. Everything was different.
Everything was different. Yes, it's like because we lost that game, it was over. Like, man, we win this one. We go back to New York and we got a chance. And I'll just judge it by how many people were at the tailgate. Wednesday, we were busting at the seams. I mean, I saw you clearly both nights.
Sure you did.
And then
I was busting at the seams.
So were we. We were eating Shemekas hot dogs and drinking Busch Lights. But yeah, it was weird, and the energy in the stadium was different. I don't know, man. It was just a strange, for as anticipated we were for home playoff games. The second one was, I don't know, just an odd difference in 2 nights. I mean, from as as crazy and electric and exciting, and Wednesday to, I don't know, maybe it was nervous energy or something. But regardless, awesome. Good to see the crew. Good to see all the people that we tailgate with. Thank you to Frank Shermecka. Thank you to Travis Hilt. Thank you to everybody that came by the tailgate. Fox 4 even came out and went live from the tailgate on Thursday.
It was one of the best hot dogs I ever had.
Was that after I left?
What, 5? Well, I don't know what time.
I don't know. I was there early, and then I went over to Frank Shermecka's, and
yeah.
then we went in because Caesar had his daughters, and so
Good
Isabella
picks.
and Gabby, and Gabby's my goddaughter. We wanted to get them in there to see all the festivities
Hubba-lub.
beforehand. Yeah, you
That was
know.
good.
You know, get out there and have some fun, and it looked, yeah, it was. It was crazy, too, because someone brought up the point that was the first time since 1981 that the Royals were eliminated in the postseason before the World Series.
Wow.
Think about that. 15 won the World Series. 14 went to the World Series. 85 won the World Series. 81 they played that weird because it was the strike shortened season. So first half versus second half, but even 81 went to the World Series.
I was not paying attention to what was going on. I was somewhere in Oklahoma.
Right. Not a whole lot of experience
as a 9-year-old.
Like losing to the playoffs and not going to the World Series. So I was like,
That's why I thought Thursday would be just as off the chain as Wednesday would be, because if we don't win this, our season's over. I mean, I know everybody didn't anticipate after 106 losses this. Who cares? We're here. Get fired up.
Wednesday did take a lot out of me because there was that they had every chance to win that game, and I don't know if that was it.
I don't know.
I'll be honest. I kind of had to drag myself to Thursday. I was like, ugh.
So it makes sense. You
I
kind of fall into the same,
and
categories
Monday
as
Night
everybody
Football.
else.
It'd have been a long week. I'm like, no. I'm going. I'm going to give it all I got, but I'm dragging ass out here. We'll Jake likes that when I say that. We'll take a break. Back after this on WHB. Hey, this is SSJ, and believe it or not, the holiday season is sneaking up on us. And you know who always has the best price for jewelry and who can get you everything on your wish list? Diamonds Direct. I was just in there last week. Man, oh man, the people are great. The selection is awesome. You go in there, the energy's electric. The welcome's warm. You know what? They offer you your favorite delicious drink. Everyone's having a blast. And they have more selection and more chances to shop with more incredible value. All right? It's not just about sales at Diamonds Direct. They care. They want to know your story, what you're celebrating, who you're purchasing for, and they'll work their magic to find something amazing that won't break the bank. And they've got the perks. Free cleanings, maintenance, and even birthday and anniversary surprises all on the house. All right? So they will take care of you not only when you make your purchase, but long after. All right? They want to make this a long-term relationship with Diamonds Direct. So whether you're planning that big proposal this holiday or looking to treat yourself or someone special to the perfect gift, drop by Diamonds Direct. Be sure to tell them Stephen St. John sent you and get ready to experience jewelry shopping done right. For the best quality, price, and shopping experience, there's no better choice than Diamonds Direct.